Liftoff. Good afternoon. In the city, there were two.
I feel like I need to get like a work on my impressions,
Right?
More, coming this summer. Like whoa,
Pretty good, actually.
there's like fire and explosions, like get out, it's just extreme wholesaling.
Extreme.
Exactly. I need to get it. It's just, oh Lord.
Like, see who that is.
Apparently we go to start the live and it's like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. You got Rob just letting all the kids over. So, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Well, actually, no, it's like it was a monsoon. So Robert and I went down to our property. You've heard us talking about it a couple times. We have a house that's in a city of about 500 people. And we were getting a lot of interest on it, but we made the mistake. Okay, not we. I made the mistake of not taking any pictures.
Oh, I had a few. So it's we. It's your boy Riley.
And we didn't take any pictures. And you hear us talk about all the time, attention to detail.
Mm-hmm.
Don't skip steps. What happens when you skip steps? You lose money and you lose time. And so what has happened is that we have had tons of interest in the deal, except for as much as they like the video, they want to see pictures. Sometimes video just overwhelms people. They want to have the ability to look at the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
So shame on us. Shame on us. Had to drive 2 hours in a monsoon.
No joke. That was,
and then 2 hours back.
That was intense.
My car turned into a motorboat.
Yep.
And we just. So anyway. Enough about our day and our adventures, but I know you guys like hearing about them, so we like to share. But we wanted to tell you guys, we get asked all the time, what do you guys think is a good deal? What do you guys think is a bad deal? And so, Rob and I had a discussion today of, what did we want to talk about? Because yesterday we had Ross Hamilton on. If you hadn't had an opportunity to go check it out, check out Ross, CEO of Connected Investors. They've got a lot of really cool things going on over there, primarily a funding platform, helping you find money for your deals. So for those of you who talk about, hey, I have questions about funding, I have questions about this, check out Connected Investor. Shoot us a message. I'll get you over there. We've got some special deals coming as well with their deal finding software. So it's Connected Investors, some good stuff. I enjoy them. They're good, honest people. And it was great having Ross on yesterday. He's a good guy. Kind of looks like Mark Zuckerberg. Never in a million years would have thought that like he started off working out at like BMX and he worked for Dave Mirra. So for those of you who are familiar with Dave Mirra, that was Ross Hamilton's former boss prior to Connected Investors. So, but anyway, so what we consider a good deal. So you hear us talk about running the numbers and, trying to find the right margins on deals. And so, Rob, I guess you've been at this for a very long time, much longer than I have.
Since the dawn of time.
Since the dawn of time. So Rob, as most of you know, is the OG creator of real estate investment. Wholesaling was something that he came up with during a little drinking session with his college buddies and trying to come up with some money, and they came up with wholesaling.
As the continents were separating, that's when we decided, you know what, this land stuff's a good idea.
7 years ago, we came up with wholesaling.
Right now, my brontosaurus,
So anyway, though,
nothing like it.
So I guess walk us through your methodology and identifying a good deal.
So what I'm looking for when it comes to a good deal is the first thing is there something there that I can, I start off with, is there anything here, to how good could it be? And as far as, is there anything here, it's like, okay, is this a property that the seller is going to go ahead and part with, and at a level that I'm going to be able to make a little bit of money off of? Now that's easy enough because you're looking for distressed properties, you're looking for distressed situations, and that's usually that kind of solves itself, because if you're not going to make any money off of it, why are you doing it? You're just, it's an interesting exercise. What I'm really looking for, though, is once I've determined, hey, this thing is going to, we're going to be able to make a little bit of money off of this, is, what makes this a really, really attractive deal? And what that is, okay, I can do more than one thing with this. I'm not going to just have to wholesale it. I'm not going to just have to fix it up. I can do either. And either way I go, I should be okay, as far as I'm going to have a real option to make some cash out of it if I wholesale it. I'm going to have a real option to make some cash out of it if I fix it up.
Or not sit on it for a while.
Or I could sit on it. Yeah. And if I sit on it,
not sit on it for a while. I think that's the one thing is that, guys, before we go on, I always just want to make sure that we're paying attention. Notice the one thing that Rob never talked about is like the assignment fee. Mm-hmm. We don't have a hard and fast number for assignment fee. Like, there are certain factors we weigh when we're looking at it, but I just wanted to throw that out there. Notice Rob never once said, well, I need to make this, or I need to make this, because we've had small deals that are only around for a couple days. Would you not take $3,000 for 3 days worth, for 3 days work?
Absolutely. It's that's a great point. And I mean, the thing is a lot of people get so wrapped up in hey, I have to make $5,000 on this deal. I need to make $10,000 on this deal. And the truth is like the skill is identifying the deal. It is not so much in, oh, hey, let me negotiate this thing out. Let's take a week or so. Let's figure out if I'm going to make $5,000, $10,000 off of it. The truth is like, this is like a game of hot potato. And once you have the property, you got to pass it. You want to pass it on, or you're going to add value to it, to somebody that's going to add value to it. And, the deal is that the sooner you can get into cash, a lot of times the better. But sometimes, if I've identified the property right, it may be like, hey, I don't want to wholesale this deal. I want to fix it up. And I want to fix it up because if I put my $20,000 repair cost in there, I can make 65, and what is it going to take for me to do that? And where it gets tricky is where you start balancing out, well, okay, do I want to do that versus, maybe making $10,000 or $15,000 on a, quick wholesale deal? And, the truth is those are great problems to have. And the only way that you get them is through research, through study, through making sure that you've identified the property and because what we're really looking for, we're looking for properties that can sell in areas that do sell. We're looking for houses that don't have a lot of obvious structural issues with them. Because if they have an obvious structural issue with them, then we have to fix it. If we're going to rehab it to make any money off of it, or if we're going to, if they have obvious structural issues, it's going to cost us big when it comes to wholesaling. And so that becomes a real concern. And, so what you're looking for is you're looking for a property that can sell in an area that does sell. You're looking for
location.
Absolutely.
That's always the big thing. Like, we could.
You and I have walked enough properties now where it's like, hey, if we had this house over here,
Mhm.
it would sell for what?
I mean, how many times, like, you guys, everyone here knows me. I'm mild mannered. I'm very even keeled. Rarely get excited. I show up to houses all the time, super excited because I'm like, this is good. These numbers are great. And then I'm like, where the hell are we?
Yeah.
I like a disappointed child at Christmas. Like that's me walking into houses. Like you guys, I need to take more video of us like going into houses because like I am like a kid in a candy store. I love walking properties and talking to sellers, and I more times than not leave so dejected and let down.
Not that bad. Come on.
No, but it's not good.
But no, I mean the old adage location, location, location is 100% true because that's what you're really looking for. You know, a lot in a great area will a lot of times sell better than a new build in an area that just is not that desirable. And what makes areas not desirable? One, remoteness. The remoteness of a property makes it not desirable. And the reason why is if there's not a lot of people there, there's not a lot of people there. And that means that there's not a lot of people to sell to. There's not a lot of people that want to rent. Um, the theory is like when you drive out of the way and you see a house out in the middle of nowhere and you're like, wow, what? I mean, that's not something that you want to have to, that's not the kind of property that you're looking for.
we research the areas that we're in. I mean, guys, that's a big thing. Like even living where we do, even like we'll take deals wherever, and it's simply because if we know an area is hot, it doesn't have to be in our city necessarily. Like if we can get to it within a day's drive, like this is a hot area, this is not a hot area, we'll take a stab at it just because there's going to be traction. If there's people moving to that area and property shuffling around, that's a big thing. Another thing that we do when we're looking to justify a good deal is when we research it. We haven't gone too deep into looking into a property, but as far as we research liens, we will research code enforcement, we'll research other monies owed on there. And the reason is clearing up that title can change the whole dynamic of a deal. We really look at deals by way of the amount of time it's going to take us to get in and get out. I will, and this is just through my learnings with Rob, is that we will rarely sit on a deal for the sake of trying to squeeze extra money out of it. It sounds like, here's the thing, guys, is like, would you rather make $14,000 in 2 weeks or 25 in 4? Well, if you break it down by per week, you're making less money if you divide out, in 4 weeks rather than 2. I could have 2, 3, 4, 5 deals in there. So, that's a big thing is unless the payout is greater, we'll move on.
Well, and the reason why for this, just so that we get super obvious with it, is the idea is if the property, if houses are really scarce, then yes, you need to squeeze every last potential dollar out of every single property that you ever come across. If they're not scarce, you need to do as many as you can. And what happens is that you may ask me the question like, well, hey, so is it all houses are scarce, or is it that some of them aren't? And the truth is like, look at the price. The price determines the scarcity of it. So if you have, if we get a property that is got an ARV on it of $900,000 and we pick it up for $600,000, we'll take a hard look at that as a wholesale deal and move it on. If we could pick it up at $300,000 and then it just becomes obvious, look, you've got to just fix it up, because you fix it up, you're going to make just a ton of money off of it. Great. Then that's something that we'll do. But, if you're dealing with a generic 3-bedroom, 2-bath house 1,000 to 2,000 square feet, there's a ton of them. They're all over the place. And so what you want to do is get in one and get out of it and get to the next one and get in that one and get out of it and get to the next one. Unique homes are kind of what they're kind of the unique homes are not what we're looking for when we're wholesaling. Now that's not to say that we won't look at a unique home when we are rehabbing. When we're rehabbing, we want to make the home kind of unique, but also general to everybody. And so, what we try and stay away from is things that are too rare. So things that are in remote places, we kind of want to stay away from.
Like, super custom builds and stuff. We keep the process simple. Like, it's crazy, guys, but like we say, pay attention to the details, the little things, step by step by step, because if you don't pay attention to the small steps, you end up like us driving 2.5 hours in a monsoon just to take pictures you should have taken a couple weeks ago. But we don't get exotic. Occasionally we'll hey, let's be bold on this one. But the more you kind of deviate from your plan, the more difficult it's going to be. Traditionally we don't take deals in super small cities. Rob will tell you that. So, the one that we had to drive through today, it's making us pay a little bit. Little bit. But that's a big thing, guys. It's like, so when we're looking at deals, it's always in time. So for us, a big thing is we value 1 month of our time as a business at $5,000. So if a deal that we take on lasts 1 month or more, we have lost $5,000 just in time capital.
Mm-hmm.
So think about that, guys. Think about that. If we have a deal that we can make $10,000 on and move it in a month, that's a good deal.
Now, one thing I want to point out, if you are new, if you are just getting started, do not put $5,000 a month as a requirement, because the first thing that you've got to do with this stuff is learn how to do it. You have to do it first.
Just do it, period.
And
if you think about it, do it.
Yeah, don't, it's you have to just go out and start doing it. Because if you are sitting there and saying, hey, I am only going to do a deal that I'm going to make $20,000 on and this and that, it is great. And I applaud you for being principled. And I will see you in about 5 months when you're still waiting to do that first deal. Do your first deal, get it done. But once you started doing it, then you have to start being more specific. You filter.
What did Ross say yesterday? Ross from Connected Investors goes, do your first deal, do your second deal, even if you make zero.
Right.
Think about that, guys. Sorry, keep going.
Zero. No, because what he said was that even if you make zero, because even if you make zero on it, you've just gotten yourself an education that you've gotten and you didn't have to pay for it as far as cash out. It's education of actual performance and doing and being able to get this thing taken care of. And it's one of the things that I suggest everybody go out and do a deal. Now we want to make sure you don't go out and do a deal that's going to like cost you money, or it's going to be so painful that you never want to do one again. But that's why we're here, is to kind of help you avoid that. But when it comes to what we're looking for, the very, very basics are, properties that can be moved because they're not in a remote area. They're good location. Good location. Good location. That there's not any kind of not any kind of structural issues with the property. If they are, we need to know what they are.
No major red flags. So right. Location, major red flags.
You look at those two things, and then you look at, hey, what can I get into the property for, and what is that's where your numbers start coming into it. What's my MAO? What's my ARV? What's my repair cost? And those are things that, hopefully if you've been watching videos with us, we've gone over, but what's your MAO? What's the maximum allowable offer that you're going to go ahead and put out there? Because the bigger the spread, and the terminology I use is that what's the cushion on the deal? What's the difference between your MAO and the ARV? What is that number? Because the bigger that number, the more options you have. The more options you have, the more chances you have of making a bigger return. And the thing is like the first time you do a flip, I would suggest to anybody the first time you do a flip, have a cushion of at least $100,000. That means your MAO is, say you get into it for 80, the ARV is 180. It doesn't mean that you're going to make $100,000 off of it. It does not mean that at all. What it means though is that there's going to be some profit in there no matter what the repair costs are, because you're going to make mistakes, because we're human and we make mistakes. And so just keep it in mind, because that's something that you want to watch for. Now, when it comes to going through and sorting through lists and different things, hey, what makes a property more desirable than another? Like I said, we're not saying anything's proprietary. So this is not my proprietary IP, even though it's worth $9 trillion.
It's all the national debt.
That's right. It's been proven like time and time again. But what you're looking for is you're looking for multiple points of distress. So you're looking for distress through maintenance. That means, properties that have issues with code enforcement. That's great. But you also want them to have multiple points of distress. So not just for maintenance, not just for debt, but maintenance, debt, and they don't have, it's non-owner occupied. It's non-owner occupied and it is distressed taxes. It's non-owner occupied, has back taxes on it, and it needs repair. Or it's been owned by the same owner for the last 25, 30 years. Once you see several of those things happening, that's the point where you're looking at it and saying, hey, that's a property that has a higher priority for me. We talked a little bit today, and you guys weren't in on this, so we weren't filming. But Kyle and I talked a little bit today about, well, what's the type of property that we go and it's hair on fire, and you need to go and knock on the door, and you need to put a letter out there, and it's like, my ideal one would be one where there is pre-foreclosure, so there's obvious debt issues, non-occupied, timing issues. They have a deadline, non-owner occupied, or code enforcement violations, which means at that point they've got some maintenance issues. So the value that they're going to want for the property is
that house is a hot mess express.
It is.
It's a dump. No one lives there, and it's about to get taken back.
When they know it. And so the deal is that once you see, 2, 3, 4 different cross-reference points, that's one that should be a priority for you, because that's one that not only are you looking at, a lot of other people are looking at it, but you need to go in there, make your offer, make your pitch, see what people are.
It's kind of like what we talk about, like looking for good deals.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we identify a good deal. So like for us, a good deal is one that's easy in, easy out, because it's a volume game for us. Is like when we're talking, moving 5, 10 properties a month, the big thing is you don't want to spend too much time messing around with stuff. So, it's like you said, the hair and fire stuff, it's good location, it's easy to clean up in terms of like title, no major structural issues, and it's something that we're able to put out there quickly and get on down the road. It's not at a cost prohibitive number to where they're going to need, an investor is going to need to get exotic funding.
Right. And, they need multiple options. These properties will have multiple options on what to do with them, because there's certain properties you look at and you're like, hey, that's a rental. If you can look at it and say, hey, that's a rental, you've cut out about half of your buyer's list, if not more. Mm-hmm. Because the people that want to just flip, that's a rental. That's not a flip. So when you go ahead and try and market to them, that's not a great use of your time. When you see a property and you're like, you could do anything with it, that's ideal. That's the ideal of what you're looking for. So you're looking for something that, you can flip, you can wholesale, you can turn around and rent out. All of those things are options, because even if your plan is, hey, I'm 99% certain I'm going to wholesale, you want to make sure that you have those different options, because those different options allow you to know who you're going to market to.
Bingo. So there you have it, guys.
I'm not sure what has happened here.
Did you break something?
I'm not sure if I'm on or not, but if I'm on, fantastic. And if I'm not, this sounds kind of silly.
No,
but
you sound silly.
No, so that's kind of a brief overview on what we're looking for, deals we like and deals we don't like. Deals, let me touch real quick on deals we don't like. Deals we don't like are deals that there's one exit strategy, only one exit strategy on there, and the time frame for us has been constrained. To the point that, hey, anybody comes to me and says, hey, I need an answer on this thing in the next hour. Okay, it better be a deal that the numbers scream at me so well that I've got to do it. That generally, if somebody's just artificially shortening my decision point, I walk, just because there's plenty of deals out there.
You're not going to allow you to force our hand when it comes to deals. So if you're putting artificial time constraints on it, anytime that you've been in any level of negotiation,
right,
if something isn't quite
what it should be. I'm not sure what's happened with Kyle. May have been eaten by the giant monster.
No, I'm here.
But we'll find out.
I don't know. Are you? What the heck is going on?
All right. Well, for the rest of you savvy real estate investors, we're going to go ahead and sign off now, since Kyle's not here, or maybe he is. If it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense, and we will see you tomorrow.